Okay, let's dive right into what is honestly a monumental shift in our educational landscape. Today, we're unpacking the U.S. Department of Education's comprehensive new report on artificial intelligence. In this explainer, we're going to focus on the core philosophy that's actually right there in the title, how AI absolutely must serve as a co-pilot rather than an autopilot in our classrooms. We're looking at a future where technology amplifies human potential rather than replacing human judgment.
Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. First, why AI in education now? Second, what is AI exactly? Third, transforming how students learn. Fourth, empowering and centering educators. And finally, keeping humans in the loop. All right, let's jump straight into Section 1. Why AI in education now? The sudden arrival of a new era.
You know, the messy, incredibly rapid integration of AI into our daily lives is causing this wild mix of intense excitement and, frankly, real anxiety. The sudden mainstream arrival of generative AI chatbots and automated tools has literally pushed this from a distant theoretical future directly into our present reality. It's happening right now. And because of this sudden arrival, we basically have to act immediately, and for three really distinct reasons. First off, we have an unprecedented opportunity to realize educational priorities at scale. Think about using AI to offer highly adaptable learning resources to address unfinished learning from the pandemic. Second, we urgently need to mitigate system-level risks. We're talking about things like increased student surveillance and massive data privacy concerns. And third, we absolutely must prevent unintended consequences. Like, if an AI system speeds up pacing for some students and slows it down for others based on biased historical data, we risk algorithmic discrimination that can actually widen existing achievement gaps. We have to harness the good while fiercely protecting against those risks.
Moving on to Section 2. What is AI exactly? Stripping away the sci-fi magic.
It is a phrase we hear constantly, right? In the news, in the workplace, and definitely in schools. But before we can truly understand its impact on education, we have to pause and ask a really basic question. What exactly is AI? Well, at its core, artificial intelligence is simply automation based on associations in data. That's it. It isn't some sci-fi villain taking over the school, and it definitely isn't magic. It is just highly advanced pattern recognition. These systems ingest massive amounts of historical data, they find associations within that data, and then they use those patterns to automate decisions or generate predictions. It's actually a lot like how a financial model predicts market trends. So yes, it's powerful, for sure, but ultimately it's just a mathematical approximation of reality.
To really wrap our heads around this leap, let's contrast our familiar tech with future tech. We are moving away from just typing, clicking, and looking at basic dashboards to interacting through natural speaking, drawing, and having a computer analyze complex video or audio. Instead of a system just displaying a list of tasks, the future system can converse, it can annotate, and it can reveal deep underlying patterns in student work. It's a massive, massive shift in how humans and computers interact.
Okay, Section 3. Transforming how students learn, moving beyond right and wrong answers.
So, if AI is so amazing at spotting patterns, how does that actually help, say, a struggling math student? Well, traditional educational technology typically just tells a student if their final answer is right or wrong. But an intelligent tutoring system, or an ITS, totally changes the game. Because the AI model recognizes the expert steps needed to solve a multi-step equation. It can monitor a student's progress in real time. It recognizes precisely where a student went off track right in the middle of the problem, and it offers a highly specific hint at that exact moment.
But we can't stop there. As we expand this adaptivity, we must demand AI models that serve our whole vision for learning. We need a major shift from deficit-based models, which basically just look for what a student is missing, to asset-oriented models that actually recognize a student's cultural and community strengths. We also need to expand from isolating kids in front of screens for individual tasks to using AI to facilitate social, real-world, team-based collaboration. And critically, we have to evolve these tools to support neurodiverse learners, making sure there are multiple paths to learning that aren't just designed for the neurotypical majority.
Which brings us to Section 4, Empowering and Centering Educators, the co-pilot in the classroom.
There is a pretty staggering reality hidden in recent McKinsey data. Our overworked, exhausted teachers are spending less than half their time, only 49%, actually interacting directly with their students. Think about that. The other 51% of their entire week is totally consumed by preparation, evaluation, and endless administrative burdens.
And, this is exactly where an AI co-pilot steps in to absorb that other 51%.
It can automate those low-level clerical and administrative details. It can draft initial personalized notes to families based on a student's weekly progress, which the teacher can then just quickly review. It can assist by suggesting lesson plans or sequencing curriculum based on what the teacher has liked in the past. It can even provide instant language translation, which allows a teacher to easily and naturally communicate with every single caregiver in their diverse community.
As teacher Vidula Plante beautifully summarizes here, the goal of AI in the classroom is absolutely not to replace the teacher. The goal is to radically simplify the peripheral burdens of their job. By doing that, educators can reclaim their time and fully dedicate their human energy, their empathy, and their moral reflection to the kids sitting right in front of them.
Finally, let's look at Section 5, Keeping Humans in the Loop, the necessary policy guardrails. This brings us to a foundational policy rule, the ACE framework. ACE stands for Always Center Educators. Because AI models can and do hallucinate false facts or exhibit algorithmic bias, we simply cannot let them operate autonomously. The strict policy mandate here is human in the loop. People must always be part of the process of noticing patterns, assigning meaning to those patterns, and making the ultimate decisions that impact a student's life.
So, educators have to remain the ultimate decision makers across 3 specific loops: active teaching, preparation, and evaluation. Think of AI kind of like a GPS app. It can crunch the data and suggest a highly optimized route, but at the end of the day, the human teacher is still entirely driving the car. But to actually make this work in the real world, we have to listen to teachers' concerns. Educators are demanding algorithmic transparency, strict user control over data privacy, and aggressive evaluations for bias. These tools have to be inspectable and explainable. School districts need to ensure that evidence of efficacy and really rigorous safeguards are proven before these systems ever even cross the threshold of a classroom.
To wrap things up, AI is advancing exponentially, and it is going to fundamentally reshape our classrooms, our workflows, and our world. But technology doesn't dictate the future. We do. The ultimate question isn't what AI can do for education, but what kind of education do we want AI to serve? It is entirely up to us to ensure this technology scales our highest human values, advances equity, and empowers every single learner. Thanks so much for exploring